They always come back. First of all, hopefully you can hear me over the rain and that you are nice and dry wherever you are watching this, and that you are indeed maintaining no contact. So well done for sticking to no contact, and indeed you are focusing your energy back on yourself and not your ex. Now, speaking of exes, do they always come back? Well, despite what you hear from these online expat gurus, I'm here to tell you that sadly they don't always come back. Look, I know that's not what you want to hear and that you're hurting now, but this is the truth. Let me explain. I'm not an expat coach, so I can only base my answer from the people I've worked with in the past. So there are some people that I've worked with who have completely accepted their breakup, have accepted that their ex is just not coming back, but most importantly, they don't want their ex back and they are committed to the process of healing and moving forward. Then there are those who are perhaps open to a reconciliation with their ex, and the ex just hasn't reached out. And you know what? These people are okay with it, because maybe they realise that their lives have more potential without their ex, and they know, or they are confident, that they'll find the right partner in the future. It's not all doom and gloom here. There are those who've had their exes reach back out to them, but after those early interactions they've been having with their ex, they've just decided that getting back together is just not in their best interests. Or, sadly, that their ex is just playing games with them, the dreaded breadcrumbing. So, with these exes where they're reaching out through the dreaded breadcrumbing, you know what? They're not reaching back out because that they love their dumpy, so to speak. They're just reaching out to get an ego boost. Then there are those people that I've helped with who have gone on to a reconciliation process with their ex, but they've just realised that they've outgrown their ex and reconciliation is just not possible. So let me just explain this one. So with these type of relationships, the dumper had some form of arrogance because they were just not incentivized to go and work on themselves. They had the very naive attitude that they were more valuable in the relationship dynamic, and that they thought that they could just get their ex back at a drop of a hat. However, what they found out was that their dumpies went away, worked on themselves, did the real healing work that was necessary following their breakup. But most importantly, these dumpies, they went away and they set the standards and boundaries for any new relationship they wish to have in the future, including any new relationship with their ex. And well, those dumpers fell short of those new standards. Now, here's some really good news. There have been people that I've worked with who have indeed undertaken successful reconciliation with their ex. This is because both parties have gone away and they've worked on themselves, or that the dumpy has held their dumper's feet to the fire with any changes required for a new relationship to succeed. So what am I saying? Well, some come back, some don't come back. However, why are they coming back is the most important question. I've already mentioned one possible reason. You know, ego. Have they still got it? No relationship is perfect. But if your relationship was good and they still broke up with you, then they're not coming back out of love. Look, if they truly loved you and if they truly valued you, then they wouldn't put themselves in a position where they could risk losing you. Are they coming back out of fear? Fear of losing you. The same fear that you're probably grappling with right now. Remember, they broke up with you based on a concept, a theory, an experiment even, that their life would be better without you. Now, for one reason or another, that just didn't work out for them. So let that sink in. Your heart, your emotions, your future was just part of an experiment for them. And by them trying to come back, they acknowledge that their experiment has failed. And now they perhaps fear losing you for good. Yeah, perhaps they missed you. But the question you need to ask yourself is, are they missing you as the person, or are they missing the way you made them feel? Remember, this is the same person who showed you through their actions that they didn't want to receive your love, that they didn't want your attention, that they didn't want a future with you, and that they didn't want to receive the way you made them feel. By then coming back, you need to ask yourself, what's changed? From what I have seen, exes rarely come back when you're so desperate to have them back, and when you're constantly blaming yourself for the end of the relationship. They rarely come back when you're starting to pick up the pieces of your life and you're making those extremely hard steps to recover. Exes will try to come back in your life when you're thriving, when you're recovering, and when you're living your best life. And they will come back with those dreaded breadcrumbs. Now, this reminds me of a saying my mother would often say, and I'll try and translate it from Spanish. It goes something like this. The person who abandoned you in the forest has no right to know how you got out or what the wolves did to you. I have to remind you that due to the decision made by your ex, you had to endure some very, very dark moments. You probably had sleepless nights. You probably had days where you couldn't eat. You were probably in your room crying, hoping that your ex would come back. You probably felt rejected, you probably felt worthless, and you probably felt unlovable. And you probably had no idea how you would move forward with your life. If you got out of the forest and you survived those wolves, you'll recognize that you are a strong person. And you won't succumb to any form of breadcrumbing from your ex. Gonna have to ask yourself, why are they coming back? And if they do come back, are they gonna hold themselves accountable for abandoning you in the forest with all those wolves? So please drop a comment on your theories as to why exes come back. We'd love to hear your theories. But before I go, if your ex does come back saying that they miss you, then they are lying. Truth is, they just couldn't replace you. Understood?